Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. It's pretty easy to get on Freddie Kitchens these days for being 5-7 at this point in the season, especially the way the Browns have lost some games, including 2 against undrafted rookie quarterbacks. But you know what? That's low-hanging fruit. There's no way Freddie could have turned down the offer to be head coach and play caller. The offer came from John Dorsey, who had never hired a head coach before. To quote the great Paul Brown, a former Browns coach you may have heard of, who was lost on a bus with his team, the bus driver kept apologizing to Brown, who then went on to say, "Look, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the guy who hired you. John Dorsey, in this day and age, that means you. And Jimmy Haslam, who's hired more coaches, more head coaches than anyone in history, that means you too also." Doug Lesmerises is here. We'll talk Ohio State and Cleveland Browns. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Monday night. It's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine, into our 24th consecutive year, seen here on cleveland.com, as is this guy, Doug Lesmerises, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer. As a great author, great writer that you are, did I really say you too also in the opening?
Very emphatic. I thought it was smart to double up like that. I got
double up when you're wrong. You should double up.
Well, that's when you double down when you're wrong harder. That's the old trick.
Guess what? The Browns did not beat the Steelers. How did that happen? You were there. How did it happen?
Well, I will say when they were ahead 10-0, I looked to my colleague next to me, Ellis Williams from cleveland.com, and we were starting to talk about playoff pairings and who they might play, who's going to be the 3 seed when they're the 6 seed in the wild card game.
Right.
So it's our fault.
Were the Pittsburgh writers laughing behind you?
No,
or?
They were down on the other end, probably laughing to themselves. Listen, I wrote a thing after it. It really was. I was at Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday, and I was at Browns Steelers on Sunday. And it was very reminiscent. It was the Browns and Michigan. Both were teams that got off to fast starts and then just couldn't win. And that I thought was almost like the worst part of this Browns loss was that you look at the Tennessee game, and they had so many penalties. Sure. And the Rams, they couldn't finish in the red zone. And nick-chubb fumbled twice against New England. And you could run down the list of this is why they lost. This is why they lost. This just felt like one of those games where they were ahead, and then they lost. You know, they did turn it over twice, but it wasn't like catastrophic ineptitude. They just lost. And you got to the end of it and thought, wow, how did that happen? And that, I think, is the most distressing thing of all.
Midway in the fourth quarter, did you still think they were going to win? Because I did. They had 13 minutes left, and they didn't run the ball once. Down by 10.
So I know this is a thing, and I know the raw numbers on that. I was looking back through the box score. I know it's 6 carries in the second half. I think the thing that we have to remember at the moment is that Chris Hubbard is the worst run-blocking tackle in the NFL, and Wyatt Teller might be the worst run-blocking guard.
Oh, my God.
You look at the PFF stuff, Chris Hubbard's run-block grade is atrocious, and it was worse on Sunday than it had been the whole year. Nick-Chubb is great. Their run blocking isn't always great, especially when they get down in the red zone. I think a lot of this stuff, when you think about play calling, I know Freddie on Monday said there was a play he wished he would have run it. They threw deep to Odell instead. There are times when I know people want them to run it. You don't want them to run it for 2 yards, though. And if they would have come out and run it 3 straight times in the drive and gotten 3 and punt, everybody would have said, what's wrong with Freddie? Why is he just running into a wall? More and more as this season progresses, I really keep coming back to the holes on this offensive line, I think, are the beginning of almost all the problems. And right now, that's why they aren't running it when they need to. They don't trust it.
Doesn't that make Chubb and Hunt even better? The fact that they're able to do that with that baggage.
Yeah, no, I mean, and if they run in the right situations, right? If they run to the left side of the line sometimes, and it's not just They can be really effective throwing the ball to both those guys. So I know there was a big play in the second half. I think they had Chubb with a 21-yard pass. They had another really good play, where Chubb flared out and Hunt ran a nice little route inside, and they hit people on that. So it's not just about running. It's about using your best players. They do throw the ball to Chubb and Hunt effectively at times. So I get it. I don't think it's quite as easy as like, they were stupid for not running it, because I think when it's important, they don't trust themselves.
All right, now that we know what we know, is this job, the job of being a head coach and play caller, is it too much for Freddie Kitchens?
So this is, I think, like the most important discussion now, right? Freddie needs to do better, right? I think all of Cleveland is united in that. But the question is, do you think he shouldn't have this job anymore?
Well, that goes to our question of the day, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, so I don't want to jump the gun, but I feel like here in Cleveland with the Browns, sometimes we have a hard time having this discussion about what needs to be better, how could they improve, how do you hold people accountable, but that discussion doesn't have to be about people losing their job. So are there times when he looks overwhelmed right now? Yeah, I think that's true. Does it mean he shouldn't be the coach next year? I don't think that necessarily is the case.
Do you think that Jimmy Haslam has hired more coaches and head coaches in the NFL than anybody in history?
I was actually doing something. I think there's a story going up on cleveland.com right now about this. I was looking this stuff up today. Here's the thing, Les, and people get a perception, and this is part of the thing that bothers me about what happens with the Browns sometimes. Yes, Bill Belichick's been around forever. Yes, Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh and Sean Payton have been around forever. Those are the only 4 guys in the league who have been in their job more than 10 years. The rest of the NFL...
Andy Reid?
He's not been in Kansas City for more than 10.
Same job.
Same job. The rest of the NFL is filled with guys who are good sometimes and who are bad sometimes, who make mistakes and learn from them, who have a bad stretch but don't get fired. And so when we say, well, Mike Tomlin never would have done what Freddie Kitchens did, okay, is Mike Tomlin coming to coach here? No. Well, John Harbaugh found a way to use Lamar. Is John Harbaugh coming? Okay, you can't compare.
No, but Jim could be.
Are you starting that? Are we starting Jim Harbaugh to the Browns? Is that starting right here? You're doing that? Oh, no, I don't want to do those news conferences. No, Jim Harbaugh and I have a in history. Don't do that to me. I can't cover them anymore if it's
not happening. The two guys, the two brothers don't want to play each other twice a year. Or in a Super Bowl. Oh, they did that once.
No, I don't want Jim. No, but my point is, yes, you would like Freddie Kitchens to be better. But if the threshold is he's not Mike Tomlin, he should be fired, you're just digging yourself a hole you're never going to get out of.
Okay, you don't want John Harbaugh. How about...
I do want John Harbaugh. I don't want Jim.
Jim, you don't want Jim. Do you want, what's his name?
Mike McCarthy?
Urban Meyer.
Do I want Urban Meyer?
Yes.
Are we starting that?
Yes.
Are you starting Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer fighting over the Browns job?
Yes.
I got to start writing then. Listen. I don't think that's happening.
Why is that?
Because Urban is happy doing TV.
You didn't answer that quickly enough.
No, you're throwing me off. I mean, maybe Jim Tressel will come back and be the Browns coach. I don't know. Maybe John Cooper's available. Maybe he'll coach the Browns. No, I don't. I would love to have discussions about how Freddie could improve, how the Browns can get better for next year that don't center around fire the guy who's been in the job for 12 games.
All right, let's take a look at the box score at what happened Sunday or didn't happen. All right, total yards 323 to 279, passing 199 to 173, and rushing yardage 124 to 106. This is unbelievable. You get beat by a third-string quarterback twice. Wow. Let's look at the quarterback comparison as long as I mention quarterbacks. Mayfield 18 of 32, 14 of 21 for Hodges. Has there been an NFL quarterback named Devlin before?
Devlin Beauregard in 1923 with the Fort Wayne Wackadoodles. Very good.
Touchdown for each of them, interception for each of them, 5 sacks against Mayfield and 1 for Devlin Hodges. Unbelievable.
There were, only 14 completions. He hurt them when it mattered, but there were times when Browns cornerbacks were in position to make plays and didn't.
Wish we had Joe Hayden. Oh, we did. That Joe Hayden who made that diving catch never made one diving catch like that here, ever. Maybe in practice once, maybe. Let's look at the running back comparison since we talked earlier about that. Chubb 16 carries, Snell 16 carries, 58 yards to 63, 3.6 yards per carry to 3.9, 1 touchdown for Snell, and Hunt also had 7 carries in the game, and that was good for 46 yards. Wide receiver comparison, as it were. Well, Jarvis-Landry had 11 targets, 6 receptions, 76 yards. How about Washington, who can only catch apparently when he's lying down on the ground? 4 targets, 4 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. There you have it.
Down at the bottom is the problem. 3 receptions on 6 targets for 29 yards for Odell Beckham. I thought that would have been a great game, and I wrote that after the game. That would have been a great game yesterday for Odell Beckham to go win you a game.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't happened.
Hey, before we continue on, let me just get this note out from Jeff in Chardon, who I believe I met a couple of times out at Chardon Lakes Golf Course. But he wrote in today, and he said, sorry this is late, but I'm very thankful to you, obviously from Thanksgiving. Very thankful to you for nearly 20 years of great sports talk. I was 13 years old, went to visit my grandma in 2000. She was watching 2 gray-haired guys. I must have had gray hair back then. You and Hal Lebovitz talking sports. I've watched you for the past 20 years, since that day either live or on DVR and now on YouTube. You've been with me through graduating high school, college, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas passing away, and last summer my mom dying. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, you do this and you have fun and you don't realize some people have that attachment.
Oh, Les, you're Cleveland's uncle, man. Everybody loves you. That's the thing. You just think you're talking into a box. That goes out into the world, man.
You didn't know me up until a month ago. Come on.
Well, you didn't know me either. That's all right.
I thought we both had the same first name, L-E-S and L-E-S.
Yeah, I thought your name was Levine. Who knew?
The opinion just expressed by Doug Lesmerises is not necessarily those of anybody here in this room. We're going to talk something really good. Well, why don't we talk about it now? Something really good, like Ohio State. Do you sort of sit there and say, this could have some tragic ending? No, it's not. It's just going to keep rolling and they'll get 60 points a game. They're
really good. I've covered Ohio State for 15 years. They're as good as any team I've covered. I think I've said it on here before. They don't have a glaring weakness. They can throw it. They can run it. The offensive line has played well. Defensively, they have the best defensive player in the country in Chase Young. They might have the best cornerback in Jeff Okudah. The linebackers have played a lot better this year, and they're getting really good coaching on both sides of the ball, which wasn't necessarily the case on defense last year. They could beat themselves. I mean, there's no guarantees, but I think they're the best team in the country. They're the most balanced, deepest, best team in the country. All right, it's hard to talk about something that happened and then you get to ask, would you have done this? And the answer, if it worked out, sure you would do that. When Fields came back and he comes in from the injury, first of all, I didn't want him in the game. Shows what I know. Secondly, I guess after the game, they said it could have been a Heisman moment. Did you that pass? Was that a Heisman moment for you? Yeah, no. I mean, yes, it's a Heisman moment, but I always think it's kind of weird. After the game, people are asking about going 12-0. And to me, on Michigan Saturday, it's just about the Michigan game. So
nothing else exists.
It's a Michigan moment. Yeah. It's a the game moment. It's you have a legendary moment in the greatest rivalry in sports, and that matters more than anything else. To me, Desmond Howard going with the Heisman pose is one of the great moments in all of sports. And thank goodness nobody's replicated it. Yeah, no, well, I mean, Chase Young could have done that maybe on Saturday. So, I mean, they might end up with 3 people in New York. I mean, they have 3 legitimate Heisman contenders. I don't think any of them are going to win. But that moment for Justin Fields, for a kid from Georgia who kind of came to Ohio State out of nowhere to have that moment in the game, that's what you think about. I always think about who's going to be on the highlight clip for Ohio State,
sometimes
Michigan.
It's guys you never heard of. Last year, Olave, where did he come from?
He was a freshman, barely had played before, catches 2 touchdowns against Michigan. Garrett Wilson, as a freshman from Texas, caught 2 touchdowns for Ohio State on Saturday. So when I think to myself, might you be in the highlight clip of the game 20 years from now, that Justin Fields pass might be in it?
In the locker room after, did some of these guys now get it, what this whole thing is all about? They'd heard about it. They've been they practiced something almost every day of practice for that game, which does away with the theory of one game at a time, gentlemen. But do you think they get it now?
So I think that's like a very interesting part of this rivalry lately, and it relates specifically to Ryan Day, who's a guy from New Hampshire who did not grow up in this.
Right.
There's a lot of guys on this team. You run through the roster. Chase Young is from Maryland. Jeff Okudah is from Texas. jk-dobbins is from Texas. Justin Fields is from Georgia. Wyatt Davis is from California. Their most important guys aren't from here.
But they all know Carmen, Ohio.
Well, they better learn it quick. But they don't grow up in it, and so it's not about, when I started on the beat, a lot of times there were so many Ohio kids under Jim Tressel, you'd talk during the week and you'd say, what do you remember about Ohio State, Michigan? And they'd remember watching something on TV when they were 8 years old. There's none of that anymore. We don't talk to these guys about what happened when they were 8 years old, because when they were 8 years old, they were in Texas and Georgia and Florida and California. What they talk about now is what they live. That's what they know. What's drilled into them when they get on campus and what they live in the moment. So it's a new understanding of the rivalry, but when Ryan Day is in tears after the game, after winning, he became just the 11th person ever as the coach of Ohio State to beat Michigan, and it brought him to tears. That's his memory. It's not about what happened when he was a kid. It's about, I care about this, and now I've lived it, and it's part of me, and that's what Ohio State does now.
Well, it did go that way for Urban. Growing up in Ashtabula.
Absolutely.
That was a big part of him.
And we're used to that. Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer were a combined 16-1 in this game, and they both grew up with it. Urban Meyer could tell you stories about when he was a kid listening to this game. Jim Tressel would talk about Rex Kern being his favorite player. They had deep ties as kids, but that cannot be a requirement to be the Ohio State football coach. Or if you make it a requirement, you have to grow up in Ohio to coach Ohio State football, you're eventually going to lose to Michigan because you're going to run out of people.
Yeah, well, John Cooper was the wrong guy, no matter where he was from.
And that's an important point because this was happening a lot during the week. And I was texting this to my tech subscribers at cleveland.com, 14-day free trial. Just because...
Okay, continue.
14-day free trial, $4 a month. Just because, cleveland.com/OSU, try it out. Just because Ryan Day is not from Ohio doesn't make him John Cooper. I think that's very important. He can't ever be Jim Tressel or Urban Meyer, but he can be a guy who's not from here who gets it. I don't think Cooper ever got it. When Ryan Day was in tears after the game, I think that told you that he gets it.
It won't happen, but would, at that time, back with the Fickle thing, would you think that Vrabel would have been a choice?
Oh, no. I mean, people knew, like, absolutely. People thought Mike Vrabel, when Mike Vrabel came here and started his coaching career at Ohio State with Luke Fickell, and then Mike Vrabel was on the staff with Urban Meyer, people knew then that Mike Vrabel was going to be a head coach.
So and Ryan Day came out of nowhere.
The question was whether Mike Vrabel would be in the NFL or in college, and obviously he chose an NFL path. Again, Ryan Day 3 years ago was just the offensive coordinator of the 2-14 San Francisco 49ers, and he got fired when Chip Kelly got fired. He was just a guy. Nobody knew who he was. He was a good football coach, but then as soon as, and I'll be honest, Les, and I relate to this, I'm not from here. I didn't know anything about Ohio State, Michigan before I moved here, but now I've covered it for 15 years. I very quickly understood it.
How do you like it?
I mean, I try to write flowery on Ohio State, Michigan Day, because it's the game, man. I try to appreciate the history. I would hate to be disqualified just because I didn't grow up in Ohio.
Let's see if we got enough room for the top performers from that game on Saturday down at up at Ann Arbor. There you see Justin Fields, 14 of 25, 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dobbins, 31 carries, 211 yards. He was tremendous, 4 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, and he had a huge game, 3 receptions, 118 yards, and a touchdown.
jk-dobbins became the 4th Buckeye to rush for 200 yards against Michigan. Joined Carlos Hyde, Ezekiel Elliott, and Beanie Wells.
Wow, it's pretty good company right there. George didn't make it?
Nope. Close. Archie had like 173 or something one time, but yeah.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did you know that there are over $3 million paid out on the Ohio Lottery scratch-offs every day? Give the gift of winning this month with the popular Ohio Lottery scratch-offs like Holiday Cash, Holiday Lucky Times 10, and Merry Millions, all from the Ohio Lottery. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. New content posted each and every day. We'll get to some of your responses. A lot of good ones today, and that'll come up a little bit later. Also coming up, we'll look ahead for the Buckeyes as they've got a game on Saturday. They got to go up against a team they already beat. That is Wisconsin. Could the Buckeyes have to worry about that, or should they just sail through to the NCAA playoff championship? They don't even have to. You know what? Why don't we just call the season off right now? Buckeyes, champs.
All right, I'll take the rest of December off. Thanks, man.
Back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohio-lottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
This portion of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. Birthdays for the day. Willie Brown, born in 1940. You know who 0-5 is?
Oh, no.
Harbaugh.
Oh, my God. That's so mean. It's very funny, though.
Well, then it wins.
Wow. Future Browns coach 0-5.
That's his cousin.
Yeah.
Charlie Hall, former Browns linebacker. Aaron Rodgers, he's pretty good. Seen on the left. Gary Sanchez, Aaron Brown. Two Aarons on the Green Bay Packers. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. A little bit later, we'll talk to Mike Masetta from Nature Stone. And we mentioned Saturday night. You got what time is that game?
8, I think 8.
8 o'clock in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And last time I was concerned about Wisconsin. I don't think I need to be this time. Do you?
No, you were wrong to be concerned last time. I think it's 1-10. Wisconsin's 1-10 against Ohio State in the last 11. Wisconsin does what they do. It works against most teams. It never works against Ohio State. So I really wanted Minnesota to beat Wisconsin just so this game would be a little different.
Minnesota was a phony team.
Gosh, you're really bringing it tonight, Les.
Going
bit. After people. PJ Fleck.
I ate a lot. I ate a lot on Thanksgiving.
They were rowing the boat all the way to Indy. So I've seen this game before. I saw it in 2014 when it was 59-0.
What ocean is Indianapolis on?
Yeah. No, I don't know. There's probably a river there on the banks of the old
downtown. Yeah.
So, I mean, we've seen Ohio State versus Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. Being indoors in Indianapolis only exacerbates Ohio State's athletic edge. I could not be less interested. And by the way, if Ohio State loses, they're probably going to the playoff anyway.
Right, as a fourth seed. And they'll win it from the fourth. They can win from any spot. Who do you want to really see? I think they'll only beat Utah by 30, 36.
So the most interesting path would be if LSU loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, then I think LSU gets in as the 4. Then I think it would be number 1 Ohio State versus number 4 LSU in the semifinals, and then it would be either Georgia or Clemson for Ohio State in the finals if they win. That's the most interesting path. I don't think it's impossible for Georgia to beat LSU.
Are they not all interesting at that point?
Utah is slightly less interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 versus 4 Ohio State, Utah, or Baylor, or Oklahoma. It could be Oklahoma. That would be kind of interesting. But Baylor, LSU are the teams I'm very curious.
Let's take a look the last time these two teams met, Ohio State and Wisconsin, back on October 26th. 38-7 was the score. What is it? Any idea what the point spread is for this game? Saturday?
Like 16.5. I think it started at 18 and moved down to 16.5 for some reason. I'd take the Buckeyes.
431 yards to 191. Passing yardage, only 167 for the Buckeyes, 108 for Wisconsin. And penalties, 30 yards for Wisconsin, 15 yards. That's pretty impressive, only 15 yards in penalties. And no turnovers for Ohio State. Let's take a look at what some of these guys did for Wisconsin. Jack Cohn is the quarterback, 196 completions and 271 attempts, just over 2,300 yards, 17 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. That's pretty good. Jonathan Taylor, a real good running back. There you go, 279 carries, 1,761 yards. That's in the upper ranges. 6.3 yards per carry and 20 touchdowns on the season for Jonathan Taylor. Quintez Cephas, he has 44 receptions there, or 45 receptions rather, 720 yards, 16 yards on each reception, and but just 6 touchdowns on the season. Anybody else you would put in the who to watch for?
What? I fell asleep during Wisconsin stats. You put Jack Cohn on the screen and my eyes glazed over.
I thought it was Cohen. What do I know?
Listen, the one thing I think is interesting is Jonathan Taylor is regarded as either the best or second best tailback in the country.
Right.
He's a compiler. He gets the ball a lot. I think J.K.Dobbins, we were talking about Heisman stuff, the only chance for J.K.Dobbins to actually get to New York as a Heisman finalist is if he has a giant game and Jonathan Taylor doesn't, and people now view J.K.Dobbins as the best tailback in the country, which I think he already is. I think that could happen. When they played the first time, Dobbins outgained him like 170 to 45 or something.
Think about what you said without saying it, if you could do that. Dobbins, most people consider him the best running back. Fields is the number 1 or 2 quarterback in the nation.
Number 2, yep.
You've got a pretty
Chase
good
Young.
Chase Young, who is the best pass rusher,
Best defensive player.
best defensive player of the year, all on one field, on one team. It's pretty good.
It is very possible, depending how this goes this weekend, it's possible that the 4 best Heisman Trophy candidates are 3 Ohio State Buckeyes and a guy who used to be an Ohio State Buckeye.
What a story for people around the nation. That story that he was the backup quarterback and then wasn't going to be the real quarterback, so he moves and they could be meeting in the championship game.
Oh,
kind of unbelievable.
And I don't think I'm going to get to talk to Joe about it. When Joe Burrow, we're talking about Joe Burrow, the LSU quarterback. When he was a backup at Ohio State, all I ever talked to him about was Matthew Dellavedova. I had multiple conversations. He loves Matthew Dellavedova. He wears Delhi jerseys. I asked him if he was like rooting for Australia in the Olympics. Was he going to be a Bucks fan when Delhi went there? He loved Delhi, and so I like sort of thought of Joe Burrow as Delhi in my head, and now he's LeBron. Now Joe Burrow's going to win the Heisman.
Delhi. Yeah, he is.
Joe Burrow's going to win the Heisman, no doubt about it. He used to be like a scrappy little backup point guard.
Let's take a look at our How Come Quickie for the night, if we can do that. Or am I off? There you go. How come if you go the whole 9 yards, you probably have to punt on 4th down?
Is that dirty?
No.
Okay.
Not supposed to be.
It is in my head. I can't answer that, Les. You've stumped me again.
That's the object here. Browns are a long shot to make the playoffs. Were you aware of that?
Oh, no, I wrote them up. They're done.
Of course
they're done. If they had won, they'd be right in it. They'd be tied with the Steelers at 6-6, 1 game back of the second wild card if they had won.
Let's take a look at what the odds are here. Not very good, but we'll take a look at.
Man, I'm going to fall asleep again.
Yeah, you are.
Wisconsin stats and Browns playoff odds.
Look at that. Browns are only 10th, and they got the 10th slot in the playoffs.
All they have to do is win all their games, including beating Lamar Jackson, and hope 6 other things happen, and they'll be fine.
Let's take a break. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Try C. You can explore your interests, find a program that puts you in the path to a bright future. Try C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to try-c.edu to find out more information. We'll take a look at the Bengals preview when we get back. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com with Doug Lesmerises.
It's your basement ready for the holidays.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. For a limited time, get Nature Stone installed now and pay nothing until next year. Payments as low as $99 a month. No interest, no down payment. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
National Holidays expert Mary here with a list of holidays you won't want to miss. Get your Ohio Lottery Merry Million scratch-offs for National Donut Day, National Have a Party with Your Bear Day, Pickle Day, National Unique Talent Day, Take a Hike Day, and America's favorite, National Jukebox Day. Every day is a reason to celebrate. Grab a Merry Millions and other Ohio Lottery holiday scratch-offs today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back. More Sports and Less Levine, exclusively on cleveland.com. Doug, we have a guy who used to call us almost every night. We moved over to cleveland.com. We don't think he knows how to work the computer to get us on, but we think he found us. Chuck in Solon. Chuck, are you there?
How are you? Yes, I am.
You okay?
And you're right. I'm not a real technical kind of guy.
Yeah, but it took you 10 months to find us.
Well, no, I've been watching. I mean, I've been listening now and then, but I'm not really technical. Sort of listen to you on .com and then call you. I have to take you off the. Although I'm sure there are ways to do it. People who know how to go from watching you on the phone to calling you and then going back to watching you without Xing you out. I don't know, but
Chuck,
I am that. I am
Chuck and Solon, meet my friend.
Technologically advanced.
Okay, Chuck and Solon, I want you to meet my best friend, Doug Lesmerises.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi. This is the first time I've heard you, Doug, and I like what you're saying.
Thanks. I'm having fun.
I've been reading you in the PD, but this is the first I've heard you on the show.
What's on your mind?
Tell you, Les, I think Kitchens. I don't think Kitchens is the right guy. But
don't give me 1 year of a recap.
With Dorsey, and you know what? Dorsey got nothing but endorsements when he first came here, and he made some really nice picks. But he's made some bad picks, and he did that in Kansas City. He takes criminals, and he thinks they're going to become citizens again.
Alleged criminals.
Yeah.
Alleged criminals.
Alleged criminal. I mean, Tyreek Hill should be in jail for breaking his kid's arm. Callaway, well, we got to steal in the third round. Well, you got to steal in the third round because the guy didn't play his senior year at Florida State.
You got to steal because he was stealing.
He had a couple nice plays for us last year, but he's gone now. So, guess what? Drugs did him in again.
All right, hold on, Chuck. Time out.
I just think that Dorsey, throwing away a second pick on Corbett. He got rid of the third and fourth this year. So, and he's also the guy that picked Kitchens.
Okay, hold on.
I just think that you can't just look at Kitchens. Yeah. I think you got to kind of look at Dorsey too. And Dorsey's got to make the decision to, and he's got to be careful what he's doing.
Okay,
so
Chuck, hold on 1 second.
Les?
Okay, what I'm going to say is this, Doug. You see how these formulate. We're going to do a special. Chuck and Solon looks back at 2019 when he wasn't calling us.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm going to leave. Chuck can just go.
No, but he's not wrong. Yeah, he's not wrong.
I agree with almost everything Chuck said. I wrote a thing a couple weeks ago about that. I mean, the thing that has bothered me a little bit is I feel like some people were kind of over the top with Dorsey when he got here. He was like a savior. And just like almost everybody else in their job, any GM, any coach, there's some good and there's some bad. But some of the bad that you mentioned has really hurt them. The Corbett pick has really killed them this year.
All right, Chuck, this is the most important question of the show. You ready?
Yeah.
Shave or don't shave?
Oh, for you? You look pretty good. I got to tell you, I heard you on the radio the other day in the discussion on the radio, so I did hear you the other day.
Hey, you do 4 hours, you got to come up with something. Oh, no, hold on. This is serious. So you would keep the beard if you were me?
I think you look good with it, yeah.
Okay.
I think you look distinguished.
And what about the glasses?
The glasses are fine. I never take away anybody's appearance, woman or man, with glasses on.
Okay.
You know that old saying, men don't make passes at women who wear glasses?
Don't go further than
comment.
that.
That's from way back in the 50s, but
okay.
I'm aging myself. The one thing I've been wanting to get this off my chest about Dorsey. The only reason he got Olivier Vernon for our guard. Now, if you remember at the end of last year, the end of last season when we were winning games, we had one of the best-ranked offensive lines in the league at that time. Baker was barely touched the last 5 or 6 games. The line solidified and was coming together. So what does he do? He goes and moves our guard, sends him to now, Olivier Vernon's a pretty good player. He's a nice player, but he traded the guard. What's his name?
Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah. He traded him just to open a spot for his boy Corbett, who fell on his face again.
Yeah, so, you're right.
You know, once again, we had a guy, he made that trade. I mean, I think he could have gotten Vernon. I think he could have gotten him using somebody else.
All right, Chuck, we got to go.
To specifically put Corbett in, and then Corbett couldn't play guard, he couldn't play center, he couldn't play tackle.
Okay.
That's just a huge. And taking him at the top of the second round, I would love to see the players that were taken in the second round last year, just to see who we missed out on that would be helping this team today.
Enough already.
There's a lot, Chuck. I've looked. There's a lot.
Okay, Chuck, you got to call more often. I can't make it this long. Doug's contract only goes an hour.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for finding us. Glad to hear your. Very good. Which holiday would he be talking about now? We got another one coming up?
Another holiday? I don't know. Arbor Day?
Arbor Day.
I don't know.
Could very well be. In Ann Arbor.
Ooh.
Sorry about that. Do we have Mike Masetta standing by any chance? Next segment. He will be standing by.
So, no, but Chuck's right. There's a lot. Right. Chuck made a lot of good points. This team has a lot of talent. I don't dispute the talent that's here, the individual talent, whether it's Jarvis-Landry, Odell-Beckham, Baker-Mayfield, or Nick-Chubb, or Kareem Hunt, or anybody else. But there are a couple giant holes that are really hurting them. And the right side of the offensive line is where it starts.
All right, Cincinnati got themselves a win yesterday, finally. Did they drink champagne?
They dumped Gatorade on their coach. Did people dump Gatorade on Hugh when the Browns went 1-15? I couldn't remember. They dumped Gatorade on Zach Taylor. Congratulations.
I think they did.
The Bengals are peaking.
At that time, though, if Baker Mayfield poured it on him, he would have missed a little low and behind, I think. But, hey, I'm the only one who thinks people are starting to really dislike him, and I think he is still the quarterback of the future as far as I'm concerned.
Baker?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No. People are just, no. Here, so here's the thing, and this is people in Cleveland love to compare what they have to what they don't have, to what they could have had, right?
Right.
And so Baker's going to be compared to Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson from the draft before.
Right.
He's going to be compared to Lamar Jackson from his own draft. But there was a time when a lot of people in Cleveland were moaning over the fact that Carson Wentz wasn't here. And I know the Eagles have their Super Bowl ring, and they'll make that trade. They have a Super Bowl ring. Carson Wentz has been not very good for a large chunk of this season. So let's just remember, everybody that you always wish you had, you actually have a quarterback right now. Baker's absolutely still the guy.
Let's take a quick look at the Bengals. We'll get a preview of the Bengals. We'll see what their offense is all about. There you go. This is look how low they're ranked in almost everything. 31st in points per game, 26 in yards per game, 19th passing yardage per game, and so on. Dalton is now the all-time leader in touchdown passes for Cincinnati. Wouldn't you have thought Kenny Anderson?
Congratulations.
Or maybe Boomer, somebody.
Yeah.
Didn't happen that way. We'll have the defense. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati defense, see where they stand around the league. There you go. They are ranked 24th. Not good. 31st is worser. 21st in passing yards per game. 32nd, that's really worse. And that's in rushing yardage per game. How'd they even win a game yesterday?
They played the Jets.
Oh, that's right.
The Jets fix everybody. I mean, the thing with the Bengals right now is they're clearly in position to get the #1 pick, and they're going to have a decision to make. Are they going to go? We're talking about the Heisman. Either Joe Burrow or Chase Young is going to be a Bengal next year. They're either going to go quarterback and Joe Burrow is the guy at the top, or they're going to go not quarterback and it's going to be Chase Young. So they have a lot of Buckeyes right now. They're going to end up with another guy with Buckeye ties.
216-575-0403 if you'd like to get in. If that line is still not hot from Chuck and Solon. Boy, that was great to hear from him. I haven't heard from him in about a year. 216-575-0403. Northeast Factory Direct, they've got 3 great locations, east, west, and of course south. Make it a 4th location. NortheastFactoryDirect.com is the place to go, and they're a phenomenal success story. Alex started the business in his garage with one piece of furniture. Now he's 20 years in the business. How about that? No gimmicks, no deceiving blowout sales, no typical retail nonsense. What you get is bare-boned cost. To him, the rent is about 1/10 of what it would be at a big box store, and he passes the savings on to you. West 140th in Cleveland, the old B&B Appliance building in Lakeland Boulevard, Freeway Drive in Macedonia. But before you go anywhere, check out NortheastFactoryDirect.com. We'll come back in a moment. I want to tell you about Sokolowski's. They were just voted or named by Beer and Wine, the beer and wine industry. Their big magazine, 2nd greatest cafeteria-style restaurant in the country. Sokolowski's University. And coming up on December 15th at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, join the Sokolowski family. They'll have a wine tasting feature. And it's a great event. I went to the last one in the fall. This will be every bit as good or better with the holiday theme. Check out 216-771-9236 for more information. We'll come on back in a moment. Mike Massetta will join us. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohio-lottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
You know what I want to know? What's Mike thinking?
Oh, where is he?
Well, sights and sounds. We don't have the sights, we'll have the sounds. Mike Massetta from Nature Stone. And let's see what he's thinking. Mike, are you there?
I'm here, Les. How you doing?
I'm great. Doug Lesmerises is with us. So let's start talking. Your thoughts on the Browns and what happened yesterday?
Oh, man. What Mike's thinking is what a debacle that was. I think their playoff folks just went right out the window with Freddie Kitchens' shirt when he was wearing that and gave him bulletin board material for them to play as poorly as they did in that game. But I was surprised. I've never seen a game, Les, where the first quarter was so dominated by one team, by the Browns, and then it just sort of stopped. And Pittsburgh, I guess you could say they dominated the game from that point forward, but I think it was more along the lines that the Browns just played really, really bad from the second quarter on.
And that's against the third-string quarterback, the Duck.
And I know, Mike, people were talking about the kind of adjustments Tomlin made at halftime that Steelers just seemed to figure things out. And that's a sign of a great coach, right?
It is exactly the sign of a great coach, and it's a statement to exactly the kind of season that we're having here in Cleveland. Freddie Kitchens does not make adjustments, and he hasn't made adjustments all year. He sticks to whatever that game plan is that he has in front of him, and when it's not working, he doesn't change anything.
Somebody.
And he also did not go to. He doesn't utilize Chubb as much as he should, and in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a football coach, but if I had a guy like that in my backfield, I'd be looking for ways to get him the ball more than what he's getting it. He's only getting the ball, 16 to 20 times a game, basically all rushes. And I would be looking to get him the ball 25, 30 times a game and get him into the passing game too.
Somebody sent me something on the internet. It had Freddie with the big page in front of him, and then they had a close-up of it, and it was a Denny's menu.
Oh, that's not right. See, but Mike.
Wait. Was it funny?
I'm not commenting.
You couldn't do any worse. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like he just sticks to whatever the game plan is, and if it's almost like watching the movie The Waterboy, where when the coach that's coaching against Adam Sandler's team has football coaching for dummies, and he's coaching against Henry Winkler's team, and Henry Winkler's running the plays, and this guy's laughing as he's calling the defenses against it because he knows what's coming. It just seems to me like that's what's going on. The Steelers were so in tune to our playbook. They knew what we were doing before we did it, and they had everything covered, and there was nothing that we could do. And I don't know that the Steelers are that good. I really don't. I think it's just that the Browns were that bad, and they're just not being coached very well.
Does Freddie Kitchens get another chance next year? What do you say, Mike?
Well, I think he will. I think he will. I don't know that he deserves it, but I think that he will. He's John Dorsey's guy. John Dorsey went to the mats for this guy, so he hired him over. I think you wanted Arians and then Kitchens to remain as the offensive coordinator, which I thought would have been a brilliant move by the Browns, but
not as brilliant
Dorsey
as
promoted this guy, and it is what it is.
It's not as brilliant as Urban Meyer as the head coach and Jim Harbaugh as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And Bob Stoops is the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, right.
That'd be great.
I will say, Mike, it is. I looked this up today. In the last 10 years, there's only been 6 head coaches fired after 1 year. So this is not the norm. Rob Chudzinski here in Cleveland's one of them. Yeah. Hugh Jackson in Oakland was one. Steve Wilkes, now the Browns defensive coordinator, was one of them last year in Arizona.
We got the corner on him.
It's not the norm. I think sometimes in Cleveland, we think that firing is always the answer to stuff. Almost everybody, even when things don't go well, get another shot. Yeah. So I'm in favor of that just because I think it's an overreaction. It's not that things have been great, but I think they can get better with Freddie here.
All right, Mike, I hope you and your family had a great Thanksgiving weekend and so on. And we'll you and I have to catch up for lunch one of these days.
Love to, Russ. Love to. Anytime. And we did, and I hope that you and everybody out there had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. Wait a minute, hold on 1 second. Wow, it's Nature's Stone. How'd I do?
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There you go. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Great as always to talk to you. We'll get that Facebook question of the day. Finally, we'll talk about what people are thinking about next year and beyond. We'll take a break. Come on back in a moment. Doug Lesmerises with us. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get your garage ready for the holidays.
We had some cracks in the floor. We needed to enhance the beauty of it. That's when we called Nature Stone.
Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete, so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. For a limited time, get Nature Stone installed now and pay nothing until next year. Payments as low as $99 a month. No interest, no down payment. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
I'm done talking about the T-shirt. The T-shirt is what it is, so I'm done talking about it. Again,
would you wear a sweatshirt over it? Or?
We
all understand.
I had a jacket over it, so I shouldn't have extended my arm to take the picture. That's what I shouldn't have done. So.
Just to get this out of the way, because it's one thing we haven't asked you about, because we haven't had a chance. The Steelers were talking after we talked to you and said it was bulletin board material for them. Does it disappoint you that you were able to supply that to them?
Yeah, of course. If that's what they take as motivation, of course I'm disappointed. But I would like to think that I know Mike very well. They're motivated by more than just a T-shirt, okay? You know, we had a lot on the line there for that game. I don't think a T-shirt put them over the top. Now, that's being strictly honest for you.
Well, there you have it. You don't think it's a big deal?
I don't. I understand how the world works, and I understand how Freddie Kitchens knows how the world works. And if he had zipped his jacket all the way up, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things. If you wear that and they win, then it's swagger. If you wear it and you lose, now it's immaturity. I will say this. I think this happens. I think guys like Baker-Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens feel the weight of the past of the Browns. And I have always said I think the Browns need someone like Baker-Mayfield to stand up for Cleveland and stand up for them and fight back. And I think Freddie Kitchens is trying to do that too. And so I think Freddie Kitchens said what myles-garrett did was wrong, but then he said we're going to stand behind myles-garrett. He just wore the shirt, but it's part of this weight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And there is a toxic atmosphere. I had begged fans to let go of the past and try to just judge this team on its own merits. But I think some of that weight has affected this team. And sometimes when you're trying to lift the weight off of you, you get off balance a little bit. And so I think sometimes that's what happens with the Browns. And so if you want to fire a coach over a T-shirt, I don't know where your head's at. Let's talk about football. Let's deal with the football issues. I don't think it had an outcome on the game. And it can absolutely, I get asking about it. I'm not criticizing asking about it. I'm criticizing the idea of like the shirt exemplifies everything wrong with the Browns or the shirt is the last straw. I'm telling you, man, that's not what it's about. And so like Freddie said, it is what it is. I'm not excusing it. I don't really think he would do it again, given the chance.
No, he won't do it again.
But man,
let's find out if he'll have the chance.
I hate it.
We have our Facebook question of the day. Has Freddie Kitchens earned a second year? Which is different from the question of will he get it? Wayne Richard Lyons says, no, I would dump him after the Bengals come in and beat the Browns. I'm tired of hearing about talent. A lot of good Kitchens has done with it. He cannot be the head coach next year. Rick May says, no, you wear a T-shirt after telling the team to focus on the present. It's a bad look. But if you don't have a replacement ready, we have shampoo mentality yet again. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Lawrence C. Butler, on what basis does he deserve the second year? They are undisciplined, they make foolish mistakes, heavily penalized, they appear to have the talent and just lack leadership. Dennis Davis, I think the team will make a change. They've been unprepared all season. They weren't prepared for Tennessee in week 1, and they weren't prepared yesterday against Pittsburgh. Mike Serralo, the real question is not whether he deserves a second year, he doesn't, but whether Dorsey will admit that he screwed up and will get rid of him. Robert Blue says absolutely not. David Sweeney, I don't know if he actually earned it, but unless you have a clear-cut idea for somebody who is better and who you know with 100% surety can get that they can get, then firing Kitchen now just throws you back into the rebuild mode. Finally, Angelo Costanzo, no, he is not. Too much talent on this team, and too many bad decisions have been made. We also have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can call us and leave us a message 23 hours a day. We're on live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And around that, you can go to the voicemail voicemail of Truth and Reason. Let's listen in on one of our callers that came in.
Well, the old question of the day is, in the last 20 years, why can't they get this straight about coaching and assistant coaches? We got a good general manager, finally. Took 20 years. We finally got a good general manager. But what about the rest of and discipline for this team? This is not the Browns. Paul Brown would roll over his grave here looking at this organization. Please, let's get something going that looks like a team and plays like a team. Have a good day.
You too. There you go at the voicemail of Truth and Reason. We're going to come back. We'll listen to some How Come Quickies. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. You can catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Saturday and Sunday with a post time of 6 p.m., but they're open early every day at around noon for all the simulcast action. From all over the world, that's at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. Doug Lesmerises and I come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get your basement ready for the holidays.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature's Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. For a limited time, get Nature's Stone installed now and pay nothing until next year. Payments as low as $99 a month. No interest, no down payment. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohio-lottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, tomorrow night, your friend and mine, Bud Shaw, will join us from WKYC.com. A little startled reaction there when you saw that picture.
I didn't know Bud was going to pop up like that.
Well, he does. He does. Let's take a look at, well, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. New content posted each and every day. Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history. 1961, Doug. Les gets called into the school office for talking in class. Go figure. He told his teacher that he didn't mind going to school. It was just the principle of the thing.
I get it. I get it. I get it.
I'm looking for some kind of reaction.
I get it. I got
an
it.
Ed McMahon phony laugh. Excellent. Tom Randazzo says Freddie Kitchens has to go at season's end. Anybody making excuses for him must be blinded by the parade of horrible coaches that we have witnessed. Let's continue on.
Did someone lose all the emails and Facebook comments supporting
the positive
Freddie?
one? No,
Is that
nobody
a pile
lost.
Anywhere that we're missing?
They just bring them in. They're not there. This from Jim Richards in Conneaut. As of this date, the Browns have only won three games. 3 teams. No, he means 3 games. Winning records: the Bills, the Ravens, and the Steelers. Steelers were 5-4 when the Browns beat them the first time they played. Paul in Findlay. We go all over the state. Much has been said and written. My capsule comment is this: Browns first and goal at the 6, can't score a touchdown. Pittsburgh first and 11 at their own half-yard line, and they run up the middle for 12 yards. More importantly, let's get to some how-come quickies. Ready?
Ready.
You going to judge them? 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Don't give it 10.
No 10s.
Good.
All ones.
We don't have to go. That's like we're going to show you how to flip the coin in overtime, like they have to tell you. This from Big Ed, who was on temporary suspension by us. He stole one of our quickies from the week before.
Plagiarism.
How come you can't buy love, but you can pay heavily for it? How come when I said my old girlfriend got her good looks from her father, my buddy said, well, that's because her father is a plastic surgeon.
That's good. That's an 8.5.
That is excellent.
I like plastic surgery jokes.
That's excellent. Tim in Canton, this is not a quickie, this is a comment. Myles-Garrett got fined and suspended. I just don't understand it. I've seen the replay several times. It's obvious, at least to me, Garrett was simply trying to put the helmet back on Mason Rudolph's head.
Very helpful.
I didn't look at it that way. The poor guy didn't have a helmet. He was just trying to help him. Mr. Gullible, how come a mathematician should never drink and derive?
Oh! That's 8.75.
How come cells multiply by dividing? Good, but not as good.
Not as good.
John Patrick, how come when I was a kid my father said, I'm going to give you something to cry about, and then he raised me to be a Browns fan?
Oh! Oh, God. That
you
hurt.
okay?
Oh, that was too real.
Do you have a final
like a
comment
9.
before we send you off into the wilderness?
No, I mean, I just, you don't have to fix every mistake by firing somebody. That's all. There's room for this team to get better, obviously. I think they can be better with Freddie Kitchens as their head coach next year.
I'm not totally a Freddie fan, but I just don't like changing the entire staffs and all that stuff. That doesn't seem to, that you got to be lucky with.
I think they can make a few assistant coaching changes. The offensive line has killed them.
Right.
Chris Hubbard has been awful. If they fix the offensive line, a lot of other things are going to look a lot better really quickly. And the list of things like people said, they're undisciplined, they do all this, they're getting better at that. They had half as many penalties as the Steelers on Sunday. People have a narrative about Freddie in their head that isn't necessarily true. They're getting better at some things. They needed to win that game and they didn't. But they're not like an undisciplined mob. They've gotten a lot better in a lot of areas, and people are stuck, I think, a little bit on what they think of Freddie.
Great job tonight by Doug Lesmerises. Follow him on cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, and for $3.99 you get what?
You get texts from me in your phone every day about Ohio State football. They're going to the national championship. Don't you want that? Cleveland.com/OSU for more info.
And for $1,000, you can, oh no, that's something.
I won't send you a text.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea.
That's a Bud Shaw joke, by the way.
Bud Shaw tomorrow night. Thanks to Doug Lesmerises. Great job. We'll see you tomorrow. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.